So you're probably wondering about the thumbnail that I put up about no more fake 4K. And it has to do with these budget action cameras. And today we're looking at a budget action camera from SVBONY. It is the ACT20. It claims that it can do 4K 30, 4K up to 60 frames per second. And the reason for the thumbnail is this is 2024. And do budget action cameras, do they have to try to deceive us with this interpolated 4K? First, let's get into some of the video samples of this, and then we're going to compare it to a couple of other action cameras for video quality and stabilization, some audio tests, and then I'll talk about why I have an issue with these budget action cameras, and is this one worth it in the long run? And by the way, quick little disclaimer, SVBONY, they did send me this camera to review. They didn't pay me for this review. They didn't tell me what to say. They don't get to see this video before it's released, and all opinions about this camera are my own, as you can tell by the thumbnail of this video. So here it is. It's August 2024, and I know that the economy's tough. Money's tight with a lot of people, but when it comes to action cameras and you want 4K 30 or you want 4K 60, should you go down the budget route or should you go with a name brand? Because it's really getting frustrating with these budget action camera companies. And we're going to talk about one that's kind of a slash review, but also a comparison and a little, I guess, call it a rant about the budget action camera market, because wow, they are really falling behind. All right, a little resolution test. This is 1080p, 30 frames per second. This is 1080p, 60 frames per second. 1080p, 120 frames per second. 2.7K, 30 frames per second. 2.7K, 60 frames per second. And the one that everybody's going to be interested in, 4K 30 frames per second. And 4K 60 frames per second. Okay, a little indoor test, low light situation. This is the Insta360 Go 3, not the 3S, but just the Go 3 in 2.7K. And this is the SVBONY 4K at 30. We'll see which one looks better. And now walking outside, it's getting to be about golden hour. But I just want to be able to show you the difference between 4K supposedly on this SVBONY, SVBONY versus the Go 3 from Insta360. Now yes, the field of view is a lot wider on the Insta360 Go 3, but what I'm really curious about is the detail, considering we're talking about 2.7K versus 4K. Is this really a 4K? And just walking, we can see how stabilization is between the two. And I'm just hand holding both of these. They're on a little Manfrotto mini tripod with a bar holding both of these together. I gotta get rid of all that brush behind the shed here. Like I said, golden hour. So that's it for the comparison of these two cameras. Budget action cameras. Well, I got to compare this SVBONY to one from years and years ago, and this one was a $20 4K action camera. Well, I say $20 because the DB Power, they went ahead and put it on sale because they were cleaning out stock, and it's a shame because, I mean, for 20 bucks you got 4K, real 4K, compared to this SVBONY 4K. So can we see a difference just in stabilization, image quality, audio? So the SVBONY 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the DB Power 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just walking, how does it handle stabilization compared to this old DB Power? Because the DB Power, believe it or not, was actually I mean, even at its regular price, I think it was $69 or $79 before it went on sale for $20. So yeah, I bought a couple of these DB Powers just because, and that's a big gust of wind, but I bought a couple of these DB Powers just because, I mean, for 20 bucks, I mean, you can't go wrong for a budget action camera. Let's see how it handles direct sunlight and into the shaded area with direct light hitting the lens. Swimming pool looks good, doesn't it? And even this old DB Power still had a wider field of view than what this SVBONY does, and the SVBONY is actually set on wide right now. So now if we're going to compare it to some older cameras, and I can't say that this is a budget action camera, because back when I got it, it was still in the 300 and I think it was 340, something like that. Sorry about the wind noise, it's very windy out here today. And I'll take a little bit of a breeze since it's 108 degrees outside. But the SVBONY compared to the Sony FDR-X3000. Quick little audio test. SVBONY or SVBONY 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The Sony FDR-X3000 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the X3000 with its BOSS system, Balanced Optical Stabilization System, where the whole lens assembly actually moves in this little camera. How does it look compared to this SVBONY? All right, quick little walk around test, stabilization wise. And you got to remember the Sony FDR-X3000, it had the stabilization before the GoPro's great image stabilization with electronic image stabilization. And when you look at like the DJI Action 1, the DJI Action 4, I mean, electronic image stabilization has come a long way compared to the Sony. But there's something to be said about optical stabilization and how it looks. And yeah, I gotta get rid of all these vines off my fig tree. And a couple figs. Not very many, but a couple. So anyway, see what the skies and the clouds look like. It's almost golden hour again. And a little backlit situation with the sun behind me to see how it does. Considering that this SVBONY comes in at, it's so weird calling it SVBONY, but anyway, it comes in at 159, I think. I'll update the current pricing on it. The Sony FDR-X3000 you can still get on eBay for a little bit over $100 used. So just a little comparison. Well, I guess it's be careful what you ask for, because the rep said that this SVBONY Act 20 is much better than the Akaso Brave 7 LE. So what better thing to do than to compare the two side by side and see how they look in 4K, 30 frames per second. Audio test on the Act 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and on the Akaso Brave 7 LE, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're just going to do a little stabilization test, just walking around with both these cameras side by side and see how they perform. Then we'll do a little pan to the left, pan to the right, pan to the left, pan to the right. Going to tilt up, tilt down, tilt up, tilt down. So the image quality, how does it look between these two? Well, you know what? Let's pixel peep, because if they're going to claim that it's so much better than the Akaso Brave 7 LE. Let's put them side by side and pixel peep and see, is that really true? So why am I kind of on the fence about this action camera? Well, I understand that it's a budget action camera. We're not talking about a Insta360 Ace Pro. So I've got that. And I understand that times are tough right now, especially when you're looking at hamburger meat almost being $8 a pound. And you want to be able to let your money go as far as it can nowadays. And that's why a lot of people look into budget action cameras. And by the way, for those that think that I'm banging on budget action cameras, I'm not, because you got to remember, this channel was actually started off of budget action cameras like the SJ4000, SJ5000X Elite. And speaking of the SJ5000X Elite, they had enough guts back then in 2016 or 2017 when that camera was released to actually put it on the package that it was interpolated 4K. Now, what interpolated 4K means is that it's a lower resolution, and what they do is they upscale it to a 4K timeline or to a 4K image. So it's going to be 3840 by 2160. So that would make you assume, oh, look at there, it's a 4K image. And SJ Cam let you know that it is interpolated. Act 20 did not. When you look at their box, when you look at all the paperwork that comes in it, when you look at the Amazon listing for Act 20 by SVBONY, it says nothing about it being interpolated. So I reached out to the rep from SVBONY and I said, hey, I'm looking at these beginning samples that I'm taking with this, and it doesn't look right. It does not look like 4K. So I started pixel peeping a little bit, and I also asked her, okay, what's the image sensor? She responded. I asked, what is the chipset that's being used in it? And she told me it's a V35X by SunPlus. I tried Googling it, couldn't find any specs on it, so I reached out to SunPlus, and they do not offer a V35X chipset. So that kind of left me a little bit suspicious, so I had even told her, I said, I did some pixel peeping, so I did a pixel count to see what's going on with this, and this is not 4K. Can you get with the engineers? And then she got back to me saying, yes, it is interpolated 4K, but that it is much better than the Akaso Brave 7 LE. And I'll put that on the bottom of the screen here, exactly what she wrote. So that's why I included the Akaso Brave 7 LE in a comparison against this SVBONY, because I wanted to see, because I know that the Brave 7 LE is actually 4K. But this one is not. This is interpolated. So, okay, all of that aside, and without me being upset, because I was really on the fence of how I was going to do this review. Am I going to just bang this one really hard because I don't like being lied to? Or am I going to have to just take a step back and say, okay, it was $135. I think it's $99 now. And for $99, what are you getting? Well, if you look at the Amazon listing, it comes with 2 batteries. I guess maybe my review sample only came with 1 battery, but that's okay. I will say the build quality of this is very, very good. I will say that the audio, I like the audio of it. I do not like that 4K. It just does not look good. And another thing I don't like is the charging cable for it. So USB, and then you get this little guy right there. Let's see if I can get my camera to focus on it. So you get this right here, which is magnetic. And if you look at that end of the camera, you've got these magnetic prongs right here, and this will attach to it. Why do I not like this type of charging cable? Because if you lose this type of charging cable, guess what? You're out of luck, because you're going to have to either try to reach out to SVBONY and get another one, or you're going to have to try to find a charger to where the battery can actually be charged in an external battery charger. Otherwise, you can't do anything with it. Battery life was actually pretty decent on this, so its energy consumption is really good. Does have a quarter 20 on the bottom of the camera. Does have 2 screens, so if you want to use that front screen as a selfie screen to be able to compose your shot while you're vlogging, that's great. Unfortunately, the image is not that wide. Even at its widest field of view in the menu system, it's pretty tight field of view on this. The startup chime, when this camera starts up, let me turn it on so you can hear it. Turn it back off, see if you can hear it. That's an Akaso chime. So it's really weird that they would try to compare this and say that it's so much better than the Akaso. The rear touchscreen is okay on it. I guess his biggest points is it's a waterproof camera, action camera, that if you shot in 2K, you'd probably be better off shooting in 2K, its native resolution, or unless you want to put this 4K on a 4K timeline and hope for the best, but the image quality is just not there. And I've seen a couple of reviews online on YouTube about this camera, and they just rant and rave how great of a camera it is. And I just have to stop and say, whoa. Okay, it's not that great of a camera, but for 99 bucks, okay, without me being upset that I got lied to about the resolution, is it worth $99? I will say it feels very robust. It feels like it could withstand a drop or two. And it may be a good action camera for those out there that are looking for a C or D or E disposable camera. When you're shooting something, put this onto a RC car, put it on your mountain bike, and if it gets damaged, you're only $100 or $99 out of pocket, as opposed to $200, $300, $400. So that's my thought about this SVBONY. That's why I was a little bit upset, and that's why I did all the comparisons of it, because it's not that I've become a camera snob with GoPros and DJI Action 4 and Insta360 products. It's not that at all. It's just that it's 2024 and we're looking for the best image possible. And I would rather, me as a consumer, I would rather have a camera company say, for 99 bucks, it's native 2K or interpolated 4K. But they really push the fact that it's a native 2K. And if they're honest and upfront, and the stabilization's kind of jerky on this, but you saw that. I'm still, and I've been chewing on this, believe it or not, for the last 3 days of how am I going to do this? Because I'm upset on one hand, and the other hand, I'm like, okay, well, it's 99 bucks now instead of the 135. And it is a good build quality. It's not like this cheapy, whatever this camera was. What was this one here? This Apex cam. This lightweight plastic, this is like double the weight. So it is a good build. So I'm just going to let you, the consumer, decide. If it were me and you're looking for a C, D, or E camera that's very disposable, then yes, maybe. If you're just doing some YouTube videos and you really don't care about the overall image quality and you'd rather just shoot in 2K, $99 for an action camera that's pretty robust and waterproof, and it's got decent audio on it, okay, then maybe that's the route to go. Then I could say, yes, this could fit your needs. If you're looking for real 4K, especially when, you can get a GoPro Hero 8 now for a little over $100. And yeah, it may be used, but it's still real 4K. So, I'm going to leave it up to you. Tell me down in the comment section below, because I'm really interested to hear your thoughts on it. So tell me in the comment section below, what do you think about the image quality, number one, how it compares to all those other action cameras, and is this something that you would buy? And of course, product links down in the description below if you choose to check it out for yourself. And as always, I will catch you in the next review. Bye-bye.